Hey everybody, I'm back from a little hiatus. Spent a couple of weeks down in Alabama with Marie doing a couple of art fairs down there, and I am glad to be home and back in the shop. Today I'm going to try something that I've not done before, at least not like this. I'm going to do like a small vase, and I'm going to carve it. I've had a couple of new products in the shop. We're going to use one of them today. This is the articulated carving and finishing post from Best Wood Tools. So basically, this is going to allow me to take the chuck off after I've turned this, put it either in my tool post on the banjo, or it also includes a mounting block for the workbench. So we're going to try this after I get this shaped and hollowed and do some carving. And I'm really excited about this because my dust collector is right here. And I have another one in the back, but it's set up for my bigger tools. So the opportunity to be able to carve right here at the lathe where it's secure and I can move it all around and I'm not limited by it being, oriented in the spindle like this is going to be amazing. So I'm really excited to try this out. So we'll get to that after a bit. First thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna get this down to more of a square. I love the sapwood in walnut, but because this doesn't have it going all the way through, I think that I'm gonna orient the blank on this side. And there is a small crack here, but that does not look like it goes very deep. I'll run a little bit of Starbond in there. But for right now, I was just gonna see. So I should be able to get maybe like a 3.5-ish inch piece out of this. So somewhere in that general vicinity should give me a squarish blank to start with. Okay. I'm just going to use this little center that goes in my Nova chalk. Spur drive, I mean, not center. So I said I was going to make this the bottom. So I'll go ahead and put it in like this, turn the tenon down here where I have a little more room, and then flip it around and get going. So there's our little crack, and actually it's kind of cool. You can see that the Starbond went all the way down in there. It's still there. So that's good. This is going to be purely decorative piece. So I'm not going to worry. Also, I'm not really sure exactly how much carving is going to get done as far as, you know, depth and stuff. So I'm going to use one of my twist bills that has the twist drills that has the Morse taper on it. I'm just going to leave that. It doesn't really matter. This piece is dry. I don't necessarily mind having a little extra weight in the bottom. So this, I went in about 6.5, which is about there. And that's okay because that's my narrowest point. And then I'm not really going to be in any danger of carving through the side, which would make me angry. I need to get a larger diameter boring bar for my Lyle Jameson hollowing setup. This is really about as deep as I can go before it really starts to protest. And he has a jumbo boring bar that I should be able to buy and use for bigger pieces because I'd like to start doing some bigger pieces. So my super fancy sanding aid here is a piece of PEX plumbing pipe and some pipe insulation taped on the end of it, and then the sandpaper taped over that. Okay, I've got it mostly shaped, sanded. I just went to 220 because I'm going to have to sand it as after I do the carving on it. I got it hollowed out and sanded as much as I'm going to do to the inside because it doesn't really matter. So now what I'm going to do is just make sure that that's still tight. We're good there. Okay, so this is my new carving post guy. I'm very excited about this. They come with different sizes for different tool posts and also different threads for your spindle. So I have a Laguna, which is a 1.25 by 8, and I have a 1-inch tool post. So in the box, I got important information. Keep this joint lever on the side, and that will help add additional holding force. All right, so we can do that. It also came with a mounting bracket so that you could mount this to your workbench or in front of your dust collector or whatever. So that's awesome. And all of the hardware to mount it to a workbench. And then I got a tool post stop collar so that once you set it, it won't change the height. I'm not sure if I'm going to need that so much with this, or if this is really more for their modular tool rest system, which I may have to check this out too. I really need a 4-inch tool post. I've got this one and then my 2 Robo Hippies, my 2 curvy ones, which I like. But sometimes I just need a short thing for doing small spindles. So this modular tool post system might be just what I need to check out. Anyway, okay, so what I'm going to do, let's see, is there anything else I need to know here? Important information. Okay. Chalk, clean the threads of whatever tool that happens to be. Make sure they are clean and there's no ground in dirt, wood chips, debris, or any threads, male and female, when installing. Make sure that your tool is seated. Okay, I can do that. So we're going to get rid of my tool post first. Okay, so then this is going to slide down in there. Sweet. Okay. That actually looks really good. I don't see anything in there. I guess I could hit it with a toothbrush or like a soft bristle brush or something, but I don't really think that that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. Let's see here. How am I going to want this? I think I'm going to just position this guy like that because I'm going to have my dust collector up when I'm doing this. It'll be up a little higher than that. But that can be out of my way. All right, so this is how I can turn it around this direction. Okay. And then this. And then I can move it pretty much any way I want. I don't know exactly how I want it yet. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of it, is that you can put it in any configuration that feels good when you're carving. So the first thing that I'm going to use is my little Proxon mini grinder with a really old and beat up, I think this is a saber-tooth carbide donut, to do the bigger bits. So a couple of the turners that I follow on Instagram, whose work I really like, both do carving on it. I've talked to you guys about Greg Natural Selection Turning, and I really like what he does. He does a lot of coloring of the wood and then carving, and I'm going to do some of that too. The other guy that I have been following for a while his name is Chad Ames, and he does also does carving. So what I want to do here is a little bit of a a combination of sort of what both of those guys do. And I think it's probably pretty impossible for there to be anything original out there these days. Even if I haven't seen somebody do something that I'm doing, somebody's probably doing it. But if I'm inspired by a particular person, I always try and give credit for that inspiration. This is just going to be my interpretation of carving on this vase that was inspired by Greg and Chad and all the other amazing turners that I see out on my travels. So that being said, where I want to start here, I'm just going to do some sort of spiral carvings all the way around. So I guess it doesn't matter where I start. Okay, I'm going to put my respirator back on and turn the overhead thing on. I bought this mini angle grinder and this 2-inch donut when I first started carving. I had initially purchased the 4-inch donut for a regular size angle grinder, and I got it in the mail, and I looked at it and I said, no, thank you. I sent that back and I got a little baby one. I was scared of it. I'm not afraid of it anymore, and the little Proxon guy is kind of underpowered for a lot of things. Also, I think that disc really needs to be replaced. I also have a Fordham motor with the flex shaft and the foot control, and I need to get back to using that rather than the Dremel. And again, that's a really chewed up saber-tooth bit I've got there. But I haven't used the Fordham in several years, so I really have to do some maintenance on it beforehand. I need to take it apart and grease the shaft and, just make sure that it's all ready to roll before I start trying to do things with it. I really like this whole sculptural end of stuff, so I'm anticipating doing a lot more of this kind of thing in the future. But I definitely need to order some new saber-tooth bits. My goodness. I didn't really have a firm plan when I started this. I just knew I was going to do some sort of a spiral design, and I'm just totally winging it. The carving stand is working out better than I would have even hoped. I didn't have any issues with it, moving or shifting or drifting on me. It stayed put where I wanted it, and it's amazing to be able to move it without having to worry about it and reseat it on the chuck, which is really the biggest reason for this. On this particular piece, it's maybe not so crucial because it's kind of abstract. But if you're doing a precise carving or some sort of a pattern, you don't want to take your workpiece off of the chuck because you'll never get it lined up back the same way again. And this eliminates all of that. So I'm really excited about it. And just like that, we're back on the lathe and ready to keep going. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh my goodness, that was so much sanding. This is why I quit making bandsaw boxes, because of all the sanding. Yikes. So I did a combination of power sanding with a little disc and kind of whoosh, doing like this, and a lot of hand sanding. I blew it off with a compressor, and I'm wiping it off with denatured alcohol, just trying to get some of the little dust nibs out. 1 pound cut of shellac. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on for finish yet. I could use the Brad's Tongue Honey, which is a little bit thinner than the tongue wax, so it doesn't require, there's not quite as much wax in it, so it doesn't require a real heavy buffing to get the wax to melt. I could also leave it with just shellac and then buff it. I could put on a coat or two of the tried and true, either Danish, well, the Danish oil probably, and then buff it after that's cured. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do here. The texture definitely makes it, you know, trickier to deal with, but I finished up with the 1 pound cut of shellac, and I'm going over it with a Scotch-Brite pad, the synthetic gray ones. I think that's a 4/0 equivalent to steel wool. And then I'm going back and wiping that off to make sure I don't have any dusty bits. And I did decide to go ahead and use Brad's Tongue Honey on this. I think that it's going to be just lovely. Okay, I'm going to let that soak in and do its thing, and come back tomorrow. Okay, it's the next morning, afternoon, and that looks pretty good. I'm gonna just kind of buff it off in with a cloth first. This is not actually a cloth, it's the white shop towels that I use for everything. This is a gray Scotch-Brite pad adhered to a squishy foam pad, which is adhered to a 3-inch sanding pad. And now I think I'm gonna unhook this for a minute. And I'm gonna put it back in the carving stand. Basically, I want to orient this so that this is more vertical to me. The way that the buffing wheel is on the drill, this will let me get it into the grooves more easily, I think. And this is just a dry buff. Yeah, that's really nice. That's quite lovely to be able to take it off and not have to reset it. This is going to be really handy for doing the yarn bowls where, I'm at kind of a funny angle. Any kind of carving or embellishing, which I'm going to start doing more of, is going to be made way easier by the addition of this carving stand, and being able to manipulate it either on the lathe or I'm planning on getting a wood burning pen. I'm looking at the razor tips, and both Marie and Lori have expressed interest in doing a little bit of collaboration with me and doing some wood burning on some of the things that I make. So having the bench mount is nice because it doesn't necessarily have to be only at the lathe. I can set one of them up at the table with the wood burning thing and let them go to town. So that's really awesome. And you can get one of these at Best Wood Tools. I'll put a link in the description. And they have a lot of other really interesting things for wood turners. So definitely give them a look. I'm quite happy with this. And I still need to get myself a new one of these. Anybody got any opinions on a replacement live center? I know that Robust and One Ways are both really good. Anybody have a preference and for any particular reason? And then slide this on. I still have my mark, which is helpful. So I think what we're going to do is just try and hit that and see about getting it. That's not terrible. I'm going to not push my luck, and I'll take that little nub off with my carver guy. I like it. It's not bad for my first try. It kind of reminds me of a glass sundae cup, like a tall one you get a milkshake or a sundae in. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to try to keep the schedule a little bit more consistent. And here we have a sleeping beagle. He looks kind of creepy because his eyes are sort of open, but he must be chasing bunnies or something because his tail is very, very happy. He's a silly, silly boy. Until next time, y'all be safe out there.